possibility for you?
You know, I really, because people say, well, you're out of coaching, you're able to, look at jobs that come right when they came open. But I kept pretty busy with TV, but when it came open, and I know Mike, and I know I'm really close with Bob. I thought, I've always thought, well, that's a pretty good place, and I saw him on TV, in the past. So, but I didn't really, the attraction to me, because sometimes you forget where guys are at. But so Greg Byrne is the AD there, and I know Greg, know what he's about. That makes it attractive. And so I did not call Mike before I got here, and I would have. But this, Greg did his due diligence pretty good, and he did, he did a great job of explaining what this place is all about. Not just the athletics, but what this place is all about. So I feel very comfortable.
What do you think of a Twitter announcement? What do you think about the Twitter?
Well, I didn't know he was going to do that. He told me before he came up yesterday.
Really?
But I knew Greg he's a lot better social media guy than I am. I got a Twitter account from the CBS Sports, and I had tweeted whatever it is, I had tweeted in a month and a half. But I thought it was pretty neat. I don't know how it played. I know this, that before we get on the plane, I had I don't know, word leaks out. I may have had about 20 messages. And then he did the Twitter thing, then we jumped on a plane and flew here 4 hours. By the time I landed, I had 130 messages on my phone. So whenever the Twitter world happened, it exploded from there.
What was it that sealed the deal?
I think it was just, I don't know, from Greg's standpoint, from my standpoint, I could just see the passion that he had that this is going to be look, when we get the end zone project done, and we've been pretty good, been right here. But we can be right here with the right thing. And I think doing that only got me excited as well. And I always thought, you never want to take a job like I'm gonna take that job, so if I do good I can get that job. You don't want to do that. You want to take that job as that's the last job you ever had. Well, this is a destination place for a lot of people. But as a coach, I mean, you do well here and have success here, and like I said, 15 years from now, I'll turn it over to one of my young assistants and let them move on. And that's and then I can go back into TV if I want. I don't have to. And it's I think there's just a whole lot of things out in front of me. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not Coach speak. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but I know I can get it done.
What's the biggest challenge to installing your offense?
Well, I think everything starts with recruiting. You got to have players that can play in that. But more than anything, I think it's an attitude of buying in. And I'm gonna tell the team that the quicker they buy in, but not just to the offense or defense, but to the program. The quicker they buy into the things we want to do in the program, the quicker we have success.
When's the first time you'll get to address the team?
Today. I'm going to address them briefly because they got practice, maybe 5 minutes, and then we'll have a lengthy team meeting on Monday.
What's your message going to be to them today?
Well, first off, congratulations on beating ASU last week, and good luck in this game. And then, I'm going to ask them to be patient while I hire staff. Some guys may be rehired, I'll call it rehired. Some may not, and that everybody's going to get an equal opportunity to show what they can do.
You made a passing reference to this up there, but was there a moment when you realized that kind of this different offensive thing you were doing was something that you kind of become identified with?
Well, when I was doing it at Glenville, it's such a small school, in Division II level. Some people know about it.
Did coaches come see it or anything?
At Glenville, not much. The only guy that really recognized it was Tommy Bowden.
Right.
And he only knew about it because I worked at quarterback receiver camp with him. Because he saw about these numbers, and we were throwing it 75 times a game then. So we can go either way with it. We can throw or we can run with it. And so then when he hired me, we did it at Tulane. I didn't know where Tulane was. And they said it's in New Orleans. I said, well, that might be too bad. And so when it took off there, I mean, it just kind of exploded. And I thought before I went there, and my wife talked about it, she goes, if you ever want to be a head coach Division I, you got to show your offense can work at that level. And I wasn't sure. My first spring, there's no lie, my first spring at Tulane, the first spring game, Sean King was our quarterback. I think he got sacked 22 times in the spring game. It was like we couldn't get a first down.
In the spring game?
Yeah, we could not get a first down. It got so bad they had a female trainer, and then let her call defenses, and I still couldn't get a first down. And so I thought, what is going on? So I started questioning myself. But Tommy, to his credit, said, they're learning it, be patient, because it's always ugly the first spring. I will tell you that, it's always ugly. And sure enough, that next fall it just kind of took off. And then once you do it on Division I level, everybody sees it on TV and they copycat it. But it's evolved over the years.
Is this hyperbole with the female trainer calling defenses?
No, I'm not lying to you. I had a female trainer, and we were at a spring game, and it was just ugly. And it was toward the end of the scrimmage, and she was a great gal. I won't give her a name. And they told me afterwards, I said, what were you doing? Sue, whatever her name. What are you doing talking to Susie? Oh, we let her call the last series because she was into football. I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. But it was a little bit ugly at West Virginia the first spring. It was really ugly at Michigan the first spring. I think it'll be smoother here because I think there's some guys already here, quarterbacks, that have some experience that'll be good in this system. And plus, we've evolved. I've evolved a little bit to change, so it could happen quicker. You know what I mean? So, but I'll tell you after spring.
What is the biggest evolution you've made in the offense?
Well, the biggest evolution is not been the tempo, because that's always been fast, and it's not been run or throw. It's been, I guess, using more personnel groups. We used to always be 4 wide, and then about 5 or 6 years ago we started changing. In the last 2 or 3 years, we used a lot of tight ends in the offense, either sometimes split, sometimes tight. So the biggest evolution has been using a different personnel.
Let's take one more question, guys.
And Coach, just talk about the scramble of not only having to scramble to recruit, but also put together a staff, just the challenges of all that.
Yeah, the thing you're doing right now, the biggest challenge, you're doing that in the middle of a critical recruiting period. So you want to make sure, first you got to make sure the guys on campus are doing what they're supposed to do. These student athletes, they're going to class, they're doing all that part. And then obviously you got to jump on recruiting, and at the same time you're hiring a staff. So I've always hired staff quicker. There's a lot of guys that were with me and all that. But like I said, I'm going to be somewhat deliberate on some of the positions and quicker on others. I'm going to be on the road as soon as next week. But it's critical now. But signing day's not till the first Wednesday in February. But I got to get on the phone with a lot of them tonight.
3-3-5, something you're going to do here?
No, I don't. I'm a little bit more. I like the odd front as a base defensively, but the 3-3-5 is even. The guys that are running now have morphed that into more of a 3-4 kind of a look anyway. But I'm not locked into that. I'm gonna find the best defense coordinator I can to fit what I want and what's the best fit for this school, and then go from there.
Okay, we got a couple more activities for